The internet is hyping up this camera, as they should. This is the brand new Insta360 X4, and honestly the quality coming out of this camera is just absolutely nuts. I never thought that 360 cameras would actually get to a place in time where they would be this good. This might be my favorite camera of 2024, we'll see. However, with all the videos coming out on this camera on the internet, there is one thing that everyone is forgetting to mention. How do you actually get good footage out of a camera like this? What are the settings that you need to change? Because you might see a video from Peter McKinnon or Sam Colder and think to yourself, oh my god, this camera is incredible, I need to go out and I need to buy it right now. And the truth is, this camera is good. However, straight out of the box, the settings are not dialed in for you to get the best possible image out of this camera. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you guys through every single setting that you need to change on the brand new Insta360 X4 in order to get the best quality footage out of it. Alright, so as always, first up, let's talk about video resolution and frame rates. Now, there are going to be three of these options for you to pick from based on whatever your lighting conditions are or what environment you're in. Now, if you're in good lighting conditions, you're going to want to be using the new 8K at 30 frames per second. Now, this is going to give you the highest quality video possible, and you'll be able to reframe and export in 4K when you're editing, which is something that we've been asking for so long from action cameras and 360 cameras specifically, and Insta360 has finally given us this. Now, this is the mode that I use the most often for the highest quality possible. But however, if you do find yourself in poor lighting, this is where you're going to want to change things up. So if you're in poor lighting, you're going to want to use the 5.7K at 30 frames per second. The 8K detail will actually make your image grainy in dark conditions and introduce a lot of noise, which is why you actually want to stop down in the video resolution if you're in a dark environment. However, I have found that after exporting, the grain is significantly reduced even when filming in 8K compared to the preview. So if you don't mind a little grain, just stick to the 8K. That's personally what I do. And finally, if you're looking to slow things down in post, or you know that you're going to be slowing down your footage whenever you're editing and you don't want it to look wonky and you want it to look buttery smooth, we're going to switch over to 5.7K at 60 frames per second, which is another new resolution and frame rate combination on the X4, which is not available on the X3. And this is what I use anytime I know that I'm going to slow down the footage whenever I'm editing later on. All right, cool. So with our video resolution and our frame rates out of the way, let's move on to the field of view. And for the field of view, we're going to be using the mega view. So this is going to give us the widest view possible. And since we can reframe when editing because this is a 360 camera, this is the one that I always use in order to capture as much of the scene as possible. Now moving on to the camera settings, and you can access these by swiping left from the right. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm a stickler for using manual camera settings on every single camera. Well, this is the only camera on earth that I leave everything on automatic, and there's a very specific reason for that. At the moment, this camera can't take any ND filters. Now, I do imagine that there will be some coming because there is an option to now mount additional lenses on this, but at the moment, there's no ND filters and it doesn't have a true log 10-bit profile. So if you mess up the exposure while recording and you try to fix it in post, well, you're not going to be very happy with the results. Because of that, the only thing that I change here is I just change the color profile to flat. So by default, this is set to standard. I go ahead and I change this to flat. Now, this has significantly improved compared to the X3. You can actually color grade it. And since I like to color grade all my footage, I do use the flat profile. But if you're someone who doesn't know how to color grade, or you don't want to and you just want the quickest image possible out of the camera, I would leave everything on standard for your color profile and shoot with automatic camera settings. Okay, now let's get into the secret settings, the ones that make a sneaky difference but that no one will tell you about. What you want to do is you want to swipe down from the top and you want to swipe over to the right for the second page and click on this gear icon to access the settings. Once you're in the settings, you want to scroll down and you want to select image settings. From here, you want to set your video encoding to H.265 for the best possible codec. Next up, you want to change your bitrate to high. Now, this is going to allow for maximum information whenever you're filming. And finally, the last thing you want to do is you want to change your video sharpness to low. Now, to new video creators, this might seem confusing because why would you want your video to be less sharp? But setting digital sharpness to low will actually give you a more professional looking image. And remember, you can always add sharpness later. It's very difficult to take take it away in post. Now, the very last setting I want to talk about is regarding these new premium lens guards. And I gotta say, I'm so impressed at how rock solid these things are built. And honestly, it's a little mind blowing. So if you are going to use these, what you want to do is you want to put them over your camera. And this is a little bit tricky the first time, but once you put them over your camera and you turn them with enough force, you should hear a click and you know that everything is lined up inside the lens, and you know that the premium lens guard is now properly attached. Once it is attached, what you want to do is you want to swipe down from the top, and there's this little icon over here which indicates what mode you should be in depending on if you have the lens guards or not. Now, by default, this is set to auto. However, I like to manually set these, so if I have no lens guard on, I'll go ahead and select no lens guard. But if I do have the premium lens guards on both sides, so right now I don't because I'm just showing you guys the example for how to put them on, I do have this selected as premium lens guard. Just make sure that you remember to go back and turn this off once you do take the lens guard off, and this shouldn't be too much of an issue because if you're on the home screen, there's a little icon in the top right, not sure if you can see that, but it shows that you have the premium lens guard on. So that's kind of your indicator to know that, hey, I need to go in here and I need to turn this off whenever you're done using the premium lens guard. And they come off just the way that they go on. You just have to use a little bit of force, but you just twist it off and it comes right off. And that's it for this video. That's everything that you need to change on your brand new Insta360 X4 in order to get the best possible footage out of it. Honestly, this is an incredible 360 camera and might be my favorite camera of 2024, like I mentioned. And I'm honestly excited to see how GoPro responds because they got to. The GoPro Max is now looking ancient next to this. So I'm excited to see what GoPro does to enter the 8K era of 360 cameras. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned something. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, keep creating.